All right, back to our religion. Here is we see a piece of land, okay, up at the top here between Pakistan and India, which is called Kashmir. And basically, it's just a disputed area of both countries, and lots of fighting about who controls it. And we'll talk more about Kashmir itself when we talk about ethnic conflict. But to this day is a disputed part of both countries. Both think they have control over this piece of land. Hindus have aggressively opposed Islamic people. They feel that they have been abused by the Muslim minority in the area, and basically that some of the Muslims in the region forced conversion of young Hindu women in the reason was for breeding purposes. So Hindus don't necessarily treat women this similarly as Muslims. So the fact that Muslim viewed some of the women in the region as breeders instead of actual women's with rights, that was a big piece of their argument against the Muslim faith. The Muslims, obviously, their goal is to take over and destroy Hindus in this particular region, has led to many extremist fighting in the region. We have lots of tension between the two groups. We have lots of questions about where Pakistani government, where do they favorite? Do they favorite the Muslim terrorists? Do they support the Muslim terrorists? Do they support the U.S.? Do they support the U.S. ability to stop these terrorists? So we see Pakistan as a center, or a place where terrorism is very prevalent and isn't necessarily dealt with by the Pakistani government, as we could see in the Osama bin Laden raid when the U.S. killed him. They did not seek to ask the Pakistani government for permission, thinking and hypothesizing that the Pakistani government was a friend to Al-Qaeda. As far as the last piece here is developing or not developing. So we can see here, and we've looked at this one before, obviously very big tree here, and very much a question of, is it a stage 2, is it a stage 3? So it's going to be the most populated place on earth soon. It still grows. It is a place with lots of poverty. It is a place where people don't make lots of money. They lack industrialization. So one of the unique things about this region, and I put it on this slide, is they skipped secondary jobs. So they went from primary jobs right to service-based jobs. So one of the interesting parts is they basically skipped an entire part of their of that track that we see most countries go to. So we see that it's very unique, unlike most other places. As far as this particular region, it's multi-ethnic, multilingual, so many languages, many religions, all right, many different ethnic groups that lead to lots of problems. There was, during the original boom post Great Britain being there was a socialist style regime, and I'll kind of go through some of the things that they did. So some of the things in the last slide here that they try to do to control the population. So again, these are policies designed to prevent births. So what they did was they projected that in the 50s, basically they had a projection that they could see that their population was going to be a problem in the next 50 years. So they were concerned with what we learned about with the Malthus projections. So they were concerned that their food would outgrow their amount of people. So they actually had a forced sterilization program, and actually instead of sterilizing the men, they sterilized women. And then in the 70s, they decided that to go the opposite route and go to a vasectomy, so forcing males to get vasectomies, ultimately leading to violence and riots at the clinics when they were forced to do it. And then today, as far as the laws, it's sterilization is voluntary, but they do incentivize it. So if you do get it, there is a economic incentive to doing it. So very, I guess, kind of the same as what China's trying to do. Obviously, China is not giving government incentives, but very similar in that we are trying to encourage people not to have babies. And then the last thing is women are actually still having kids, but what they're doing now is, in order to make more money, they're actually becoming surrogates. So they're giving their bodies to have babies to make money in order to provide for their families. So we see a growing number of births, mostly to British and American families. So the important things, just quickly, we're almost done here, is we just need to make sure we understand the similarities. Okay, there is lots of similarities, but there are tons and tons of differences. So I want make sure we focus on the religion aspect, make sure we look at how the religion unites and divides the region at the same time, and then maybe just a couple of factors as far as what are the negatives of the region today. So terrorism is a huge deal in the region because of the two religions that don't see eye to eye, and then as far as the development of the country as well. See you later.